of all, I want to thank Martin and Matthias for inviting me back for a third year. This is truly one of my favorite Bitcoin conferences, and not just because of the food, but this is actually one of my favorite cities, and I truly believe it's one of the best run conferences in the year, which is why last year I decided to first announce what we're building, Satlantis, and this year we are going to finally release what we've been working on. Now, announcements are usually a little bit self-congratulatory, so instead of doing the usual thing, I'm going to actually tell you guys a story about how all of this came to be. In 2019, I left Australia for what was supposed to be a 4-week trip for a couple of conferences. But one thing led to another, a conference here, a meetup there, a catch up with this person there. And before you knew it, I had been in like 10 different countries or 10 different cities, and my digital nomad journey had begun. I was just bouncing around all over the place. And fast forward to March 2020, and we all remember what happened then, right? I remember it vividly because I was in an Airbnb and my host kicked me out, and then at the same time all the Airbnbs closed down, all the hotels closed down, and I was homeless for a night. And of all things to come to the rescue, it was actually Tinder. My date from like 2 nights previous said, hey, you should come and stay with my place for a couple of nights while this whole thing blows over. And those couple of nights turned into the most awkward 3 weeks of my life as we got quarantined together, and she turned out to be a pro-lockdown communist. So little else needs to be said other than I planned and executed my escape as soon as humanly possible. Then over the next couple of years, my life completely changed. I came to understand what it meant to have sovereignty, not just monetary sovereignty like what you get with Bitcoin, which is obviously fundamentally important, but I started seeking physical sovereignty, or location independence as I like to call it. And I ended up like dodging everything from mask mandates to PCR tests to vaccines and jabs and all this sort of stuff. And I think I ended up in like 50 countries over a period of 5 years. I lived in 4 different countries, found my beautiful wife, got married, and we became in the process kind of very good at using all of the different travel apps, nomad apps, community apps, and all this sort of stuff. We became like these quote-unquote sovereign individuals. So why do I tell you this? Well, I think it was 2023, I was at the Adopting Bitcoin conference in El Salvador, which is another fantastic conference. And my wife and I were walking around looking for where to get some coffee from, and she's a bit of a coffee connoisseur. And every single place we went to that had a good Google rating, we went to 3 of them, they all sucked. The only one place that we went to, which was really, really good, was a recommendation from a friend, but the Google rating wasn't great. And for whatever reason, this has happened to me a million times, I'm sure it's happened to all of you at some point in time, where you get a good rating and it's actually a scam. For whatever reason, it ignited something in my mind. It kind of sprouted the idea for the product that we have now been building for the last 12 months, and which a bunch of you have probably already used. Now, it's still early days. So the first product release happened, or the first mobile release happened 2 or 3 days ago. But last year on this stage, I literally announced it, so I'm proud to have it out there. Now, let me tell you, let's take a step back, and I want to explain to you why this is important. So, as the world has evolved over these last couple of years, it's gotten smaller and it's gotten faster. When you think about travel now, it's not so much a tourism or a vacation. Now it's a lifestyle and an identity. People want more sovereignty. They want more location independence. They want more mobility. They want more freedom. They want more choice. People are looking for that. There's the rise of flag theory. There's like passport bros. There's all this sort of thing. And having, this is especially important for Bitcoiners because, while Bitcoin gives you monetary sovereignty, it's about what Bitcoin can give you in real life that actually matters more, right? You want, Bitcoin opens up options in real life. It's not just how much Bitcoin you've stacked. And when we think about, what sovereignty is, I gave a talk about this the other day. Sovereignty is not just like some label that you attach to yourself because you read The Sovereign Individual. Sovereignty is about a social network. It's about your connections. It's about your community. It's about who you're able to be sovereign with together. And this is precisely where something like Satlantis comes in. What we've built here is an attempt to use the existing toolkit, which is Bitcoin, Nostr, etc., to build a mechanism for us to bring back social networks. And I'll explain what that means in a second. But if we keep zoomed out for a second, if we look at how the world has changed, on the one hand, we've still got this like travel applications like TripAdvisor where you get random reviews from people you don't know. There's, the whole app is static. You can't engage with it. There's nothing social. It's useless. And on the other hand, we have these social apps, all which are definitely personalized. They're dynamic. They change. But there's like zero travel utility in there. They are ephemeral. So, everything you see on the feed is gone after you look at it. And not to mention, they are just full of slop and, rage bait and clickbait and AI vortex hell. So what we are trying to do is we are trying to fix this. And a mental model that I want to leave you guys with is specifically this shift from social media back to social networks. So about probably a decade ago, all of the social networks that we used to have started evolving into social media. And social media, unfortunately, because it is media fundamentally, it kind of metastasizes into this thing that sucks you into a vortex of content hell. You see people like sitting there scrolling on their phones, and I can actually see a couple of you out there like sitting there scrolling on your phones. And it, in my opinion, doesn't make the world better. These platforms, these social apps these days, they're less about connection, they're more about consumption, right? They're not networks anymore, they are media. And you kind of get this, you get the sloppening, as I like to call it. So in my opinion, technology is supposed to make people's lives better. And when I think about what we're building at Satlantis, we want to re-enable social networks so that we can connect people together in the real world. This is what people are craving. As AI eats the internet, as the internet continues to die and becomes the dead internet, we need to establish these networks that start to connect us again. And this is where I truly believe the future of Bitcoin, Bitcoiners, Bitcoin community, and Bitcoin businesses lies. So I'm going to give you one last sort of like message or mechanism to keep in your head. The next wave of Bitcoin companies won't have Bitcoin in their name. They won't be explicitly Bitcoin companies. They will use Bitcoin and other technologies in the stack in the same way as we use the internet or programming languages. It's not something that's going to be explicit. The first wave was exchanges, wallets, miners. We know all these guys, Coinbase, Ledger, all this sort of stuff, and they made billions. The second wave is Bitcoin treasury companies, which, look, they're more financial engineering companies than they are Bitcoin companies, and, they're cool and all, they have to come, they're going to make lots of money, but between you and I, let's be honest, financial engineering is pretty fiat. In my opinion, the next wave of truly innovative companies are going to be those that take this new underlying tech stack with the whole internet, with Bitcoin as a monetary protocol and something like Nostr as an identity protocol, and make Bitcoin invisible, make Nostr invisible, and deliver products that make people's lives in the real world better, which is effectively what we're trying to do. It's about people, places, and events. As the internet becomes this vortex of content hell, we want to connect in the real world because fundamentally, we have this whole new design space. This is what I was talking about, the 4 layers of the internet. You've got those up to HTTP is current. Now we have a monetary layer and we have Nostr as an identity layer. We have a whole new design space to build applications that we'll never, ever, ever able to build before. And this is what gets me excited. So I'm going to leave you with 3 final things before I get off this stage. If this is something that interests you, if it's something that excites you, if it's a future that you're interested in, then you can actually download the app now. So if you scan the QR code here, you can download the app, you can create an account, find your friends, post some content. We've got a big teddy bear in the back so you can win some prizes. It's still early, so it's going to be buggy. But it's getting better every single week now. Number 2, if you're interested in finding out a little bit more, we're hosting a private event tomorrow on Sunday. If you find me on Satlantis, you will see the event. You can RSVP straight through the app. And finally, which is the cool part, we are announcing here to BTC Prague for the first time in the world, the first ever equity crowdfund to be payable in Bitcoin. So this is the first Bitcoin-denominated equity crowdfund in history. So we're SEC registered, we're going to be raising it on timestamp, which is up here, and it means that the community, the retail, the crowd, can invest anything from like $250 up to 50,000, whatever they want to do, alongside these guys. So like Axiom Capital, Bitcoin Opportunity Fund, Timechain Capital, they're all our investors, and the man, the myth, the legend himself, Ross Stevens. So thank you all for your attention, and I hope to see you all on Satlantis.
Secure your BTC Prague 2026 ticket at the lowest possible price now.